Good morning. Happy Monday. I promised that I would add vocabulary words into the lessons for this week. So if you go grab your notebook or an extra piece of paper or something, you can create the vocabulary anchor chart with me, just like we normally would if we were in the classroom. So remember that your vocabulary anchor charts have 3 columns. We'll write unit 5, week 4, and we've got 3 columns. The first column is so that you can write your vocabulary words. The middle column will be for your quick sketch. And the last column will be for your definition to remember the word, okay? Then you need to have 8 rows so that you have 1 row for each word. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so that you can see all 8 words that you'll have to write down, and then we'll get started with the story. All right, so here are all 8 words. The first one is curious. Your second word is distance. Your third word is earth resources. Enormous. Gently. Proudly. Rarely. And supply. All right. The story for this week is called The Art Project. And the essential question, so the question that you need to think about while you're listening to all of your stories for the week is, how can we protect the earth? Okay, so we'll go ahead and start the story, and then I'll pause at each vocabulary word just like we normally would, and we'll talk about what does that word mean based on the context clues or the words around your vocabulary word. So let's get started.
Look, the community center is having an art contest, said Grace. She was holding a flyer. Mrs. Simon read the flyer aloud. Everyone agreed they would like to enter the art contest. Mrs. Simon said, "Our classroom supply of art materials is low because it's the end of the year. I'll check with Mrs. Rice to see what she has."
So we came across our first vocabulary word, and it is supply. So let me think about the word supply, and I'll read the sentence that has that word. Our classroom supply of art materials is low because it's the end of the year. If I'm thinking of a supply of art materials, I'm thinking about all of the art materials that I have to use. So it's kind of like my collection of art materials. So a supply is a collection of something, a collection of materials. So let me find the word supply on my anchor chart all the way at the bottom. I'm going to write the definition in the third column, and my definition will be a collection of materials. A collection of materials. I'm going to do a quick sketch, and my sketch is going to be a whole bunch of crayons. And remember, when you're doing your quick sketch, it is not a fancy drawing. It's just something very fast to help your brain remember the definition of the vocabulary word. So there's my supply of crayons, my collection of crayons. Now we need to think of a gesture or a hand movement to help us remember that supplies is a collection of materials. And I'm thinking of a collection of materials. I think that that will help my brain remember that supply is a collection. Good one. All right, let's go ahead and continue the story to find the rest of the words.
Mrs. Rice, the art teacher, didn't have any art materials. I won't be getting a supply until next year, she said. The whole class was disappointed. How can we enter the art contest without art materials? Asked Grace. Maybe we can raise some money. We could have a bake sale, suggested Hal. I don't think there's time, Mrs. Simon said. Let's use the paper in the recycling bin, Pablo said. Pablo did not often raise his hand. He rarely spoke up, so everyone was surprised when he offered an idea.
We came across our second vocabulary word. I see that rarely is highlighted. That must mean it's my next vocab word. Let's see. The context clues. I see not often and rarely spoke up. Listen to those sentences. Let's use the paper in the recycling bin, Pablo said. Pablo did not often raise his hand. He rarely spoke up, so everyone was surprised when he offered an idea. If Pablo did not often raise his hand, not often means not a lot, and he rarely spoke up, rarely must also mean not a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and find rarely on my anchor chart, right here, right up top of supply. And I'm going to write my definition. I'm going to write not often or not a lot. Not often, not a lot. And my quick sketch for not often or not a lot, I'm just going to draw an X. And that will help my brain remember that rarely means not often, not a lot. And there's my hand movement. Rarely, not often, not a lot. I also noticed before I turn the page, remember our skill for the week is problem and solution. I think they've already come across the problem. And they even have taken a couple steps to solve their problem. I know they haven't solved their problem yet, but I know they're coming up with ideas. And I'm not going to tell them to you. You'll have to watch Miss Branson's video so that you can figure out the problem and the steps to the solution and the actual solution, because that's on another whole graphic organizer. Okay.
Hal said, I'm curious about your idea. I want to learn why you would use old paper.
Our next word is curious. Hal said, I'm curious about your idea. I want to learn why you would use old paper. If I'm thinking about the context clues, the words around curious, it tells me the answer. If you're curious about something, you want to know more. You're interested. So Hal says, I'm curious about your idea. I want to learn why you would use old paper. He's curious. He wants to learn. Let me add that to my anchor chart. Curious is all the way on the top. For my definition, I'm going to write, you want to learn more. Want to learn more. Or you're wondering, Wonder. There we go. My quick sketch is going to be, let's see, if I'm curious, I want to learn more. I'm going to draw a question mark. If I'm curious about something, I probably have questions about it and I want to learn more. Remember, to learn, you have to ask questions. That's a good sketch. My gesture will be curious, I want to know more. That's what I'll do. Curious, I want to know more. Curious, I want to know more. Supply, collection of materials. Supply, collection of materials. Rarely, not often, not a lot. We're remembering them.
So we can save Earth's resources, replied Pablo. When we use recycled paper, we use natural materials and save trees.
Earth's resources. That's kind of a hard one. Listen to that sentence again. So we can save Earth's resources, replied Pablo. When we use recycled paper, we use natural materials and save trees. So if we want to save Earth's resources, and if we use recycled paper, we're saving trees. Trees must be one of Earth's resources. So Earth's resources would be things that I can get naturally from the Earth. I'm going to add that to my anchor chart. Earth's resources. We will say natural things that the Earth gives us. Natural things that Earth gives. What can I think of that is something natural that Earth gives? Trees. There's my quick tree. And water. This is water. That's a natural resource as well from Earth. There we go. Okay, a hand gesture for Earth's resources. I'm going to do like a tree. Earth's resources, natural things that the Earth gives. Natural things that the Earth gives. I'm drawing a tree with my hands. Earth resources, natural things that the Earth gives. Curious? I want to know more. Supply, a collection of materials. Rarely, not often, not a lot. Earth's resources, natural things that the Earth gives us. Okay, let's continue.
We can also use this old string and these wire hangers, added Grace. Now the class had to decide what to do with the materials. Pablo had another idea. We can fold the paper into cranes. Then we can attach the cranes to a frame to make a mobile. Mrs. Simon taught the children how to fold the paper into cranes. Then everyone helped attach the cranes to the mobile. On the day of the art contest, the paper crane mobile hung in the enormous community center room. The huge space was crowded with art projects. From far off, the class spotted their project. The crane mobile swayed gently as people walked past.
I missed one. Enormous. Let's start that page again.
On the day of the art contest, the paper crane mobile hung in the enormous community center room. The huge space was crowded with art projects.
Okay, enormous, enormous. Listen to the context clues. On the day of the art contest, the paper crane mobile hung in the enormous community center room. The huge space was crowded with art projects. I found a clue. Huge space, enormous community center room, huge, enormous. Those are synonyms. They mean the same. Let me find enormous right here. I'll go to my definition column and I'm going to write huge. Huge. Now for my quick sketch, what can I think of to draw that will remind me of enormous? I'm just going to draw a really big ball and a really little ball and point to this one. That one is enormous. That ball is huge compared to this one. Now let me think of a hand gesture. If enormous is huge, I'm going to do this. Enormous, huge. Enormous, huge. Curious, I want to learn more. Earth resources, natural things that the earth gives. Rarely, not often, not a lot. Supply, a collection of materials. Enormous, huge.
From far off, the class spotted their project. The crane mobile swayed gently as people walked past. From a distance, the paper cranes appeared to be softly flying.
Now, I didn't pause that one until after 2 words because my context clue for gently is at the end of that paragraph. It says, the crane mobile swayed gently as people walked past. From a distance, the paper cranes appeared to be softly flying. If something is gentle, let me think of something I have to be gentle with, a kitten. I have to be very gentle and soft with a new baby kitten because they're brand new, right? They're fragile. So let me write my definition of gently. It's going to be softly. If mom asks me to gently put the dishes away, I have to do it softly so that I don't break a glass. Gently, softly. And that's actually going to be the picture that I draw, my quick sketch. I'm going to do a glass. There. That's a glass that I have to put away gently so that I don't break it. The second word that we came across was distance. From a distance, the paper cranes appeared to be softly flying. If I think of the word distance, I think of how far something is. So that's what I'm going to write next to distance. Distance, how far something is. And then I'm going to draw a dot here, and then a line, and then another dot. This line shows the distance between this dot to that dot. And there's my hand movement. Distance, how far something is. Distance, how far something is.
The judges checked each art project. They looked closely at the crane mobile. The paper crane mobile won the prize for the most creative use of materials. As the class proudly accepted their prize, they could not stop grinning. Grace exclaimed, "We made our art project, and we saved the earth at the same time."
All right, my last word is proudly. Let me read that paragraph again. The paper crane mobile won the prize for the most creative use of materials. As the class proudly accepted their prize, they could not stop grinning. Grace exclaimed, "We made our art project and we saved Earth at the same time." How do I look when I feel proud? I'm smiling. They could not stop grinning. They got a prize, so they're happy. If they're proud of their work, they're happy with their work. Happy and satisfied. And my quick sketch is just going to be a smiley face. If I'm proud, I'm happy, I know that I did a good job. They must know that they did a good job. They said they made their art project and they saved Earth at the same time. So they're very proud that they were saving Earth's resources and they won their art project, their contest. All right, so I'm going to stop this video. Miss Branson is going to upload another video using the same story, but you're going to identify the problem and the steps to solve the problem, and then the actual solution as well, okay?